Okay.
Okay.
Let me find. It's Gator Gaming Law Club is what it is.
Okay.
Let me send it to you so you can see it as well.
All right. Thank you. Big appreciate it.
I'm assuming since there's an ad that we're going live. Even I don't know why we're getting ads. Alright, yeah, okay, so
I
it's
have
live.
Twitch Prime, you know,
So we're
yeah.
casting Avalanche versus Rotation to Relegation. That's the invite when you can.
Why does this say they're 1-0 and then they're 2-0?
I think. I don't know actually. I forgot to ask him because I just now looking at these stats.
What's the left side and what's the right side?
I think the right side is like what they like their game score, and rather than their like left is match and right is game. I'm assuming. I have no idea.
Well, then how is rotation 2-0 with 2-0 and they're 1-0 with 2-0?
Then I think because buy rounds, they're not a. We have every week has a buy.
Oh, what? Yeah, there are too many people in spectate.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna wait for them to get in order.
That's it, man.
Okay, so
left is match, right is game. There are bye weeks and some games are played out of order. Okay. No. I'm reading chat, dude. I'm like, come on.
Oh.
Our friend here has offered the answer.
I'm trying to make a thing.
What thing?
Rotate. Let's see. Avalanche.
What are you doing?
I'm typing an announcement or an at here.
All right, so we're waiting for everyone to get ready, right? That's what's going on right now. Everyone's getting prepared.
Everyone's getting ready. Everyone's getting all set up so that way we can actually. I think someone already posted.
All right, beautiful, wonderful, magnificent, one might say.
Avalanche.
What are you clacking at?
Well, I posted it and then it disappeared because Discord doesn't like me.
So it's the top 2 teams? Is that what we're seeing right now?
Hold up. Yeah, send it.
But there's 3 number 2s, so number 1 and number 2.
So I don't know who's actually at the top. I know Avalanche, Beast Coast, and Not Allowed to Lose are the 3 pretty decent teams that are in. But those are just based off experience. Rotation Relegation is.
They have the best
obviously
record.
Top of the standings. Yeah, they have the best record, the best standings. So they could just be the underdog that's no one has seen yet.
Well, keep your eyes open. We're about to see a beast of a game. I'm feeling it.
So I'm assuming blue side this game is going to be Rotation Relegation. Red side's going to be Avalanche Gaming. Even though people aren't actually here yet. Let me try and find. The thing is, I don't know what any of these guys are going to play. Like, Dyrude is on the Rotation Relegation captain, I'm assuming. He used to be a big Jungle Graves player. So I'm wondering if he's still on that grind.
Well, Graves has been in the gutter, according to all the Graves mains. They hate their champion. Please fix the champion. Make him tier 1 again. That's what they all want.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that might be the reason they're tier 1 in the standings, is because they are playing the old tier 1 Graves. He's just held onto that skill for so long. It doesn't matter how good the champion actually is. The skill he accrued from when the champion was tier 1 is the only thing that matters. But that aside, it is kind of a hard read to find out what these guys are going to pick, so it should be interesting getting into champ select. If these guys are the top 2 standers, I don't know. I'm kind of excited for the bans. Game 1 should be some interesting picks. Game 2 is going to be definitely more target bans based on the first game. That's usually how the matches go.
Now,
I hope this goes to Game 3 though, because if the right is how many games there are, then everyone's getting 2-0 swept, and I'm not. That's not going to be very exciting.
I'm pretty sure Graves struggles against most of like the hardcore meta junglers right now, like Nunu.
Yeah, but we don't even know if he plays Graves.
Well, if he does, they're probably gonna need to take
Oh, you know
out
what?
some
No, I remember
junglers.
now. He's a Tryndamere player now.
In
He threw that away. He's a
top
Tryndamere player.
lane?
Yeah, so top should be
Okay.
free, assuming he gets Tryndamere, which he's not going to, most likely. They're going to ban that away. But the game that he does get Tryndamere, Avalanche is basically going to go 10-0 topside.
Yeah, good
What
luck.
jungle-
Good luck stopping that snowball. That might turn into an avalanche.
Oh, I thought you were making a new joke.
Because it's their team name. Come on.
Anyway, all right, so it's 102. We're getting ready for the game to start. Who are you, Daniel?
I'm Daniel.
Yeah, you're BiscuitCrusader,
BiscuitCrusader.
and I'm Lobsterman, and we'll be casting
We're coasting.
Game 1 of Avalanche versus
I got into spectate. So, is one full team here now? And then
looks like one full team is here, and we're waiting on Avalanche, is what it looks like.
okay.
So speaking of snowballs, it looks like the jungler Taranis plays a whole lot of Nunu.
Ooh, I'm ready to see it. That Nunu, I love it, dude. He just runs at people with that big old snowball and doesn't die. It's beautiful.
And Tryndamere runs at him with the big old sword. So they got two big ideas coming in from Avalanche Gaming. Tryndamere screams really loud, activating the Avalanche. Nunu guides it all the way down, runs in. The enemy team has absolute zero chance of winning against that strat.
That's his ultimate. Good one. Nice mixing that one in. I like that.
I do know that. Oh wait, actually.
What is it? Did you mess up? Something happened?
Yeah, we're making the wrong memes. Avalanche is the other team.
Oh, whoops.
Well, maybe that they got the edge. Nunu and Tryndamere, they know how to work the Avalanche apparently, because they're from what, the Freljord? Is that still canon?
Yeah.
Is Tryndamere still canon? Freljord
I think
King?
so. Wait, Tryndamere not. I think he's from there.
He's the king of someplace in there, and Ashe is the queen.
I mean, he's got a skin that gives him a crown, so he
Nunu's
must
the
be.
pet dog.
Yeah, you see, when Nunu, no, we gotta separate them. When Willump dies, because you can't kill the kid. When Willump dies, dude, it's so sad. Saddest death animation I've ever seen.
Yeah, honestly, the Nunu rework gave a whole lot of life to the character in more ways than I can imagine. Nunu bot, no one really uses that skin anymore. They like the lively Disney look of Nunu. Good old
Disney Nunu.
Tryndamere and Nunu have pretty gruesome deaths. Nunu pretends that he's dead so that way no one, stomps on him and his Yeti friend. But also maybe it's like a solidarity thing. Could be two different things.
Dude, he's hugging up. He doesn't want him to be dead.
Yeah, pretty sad. It's like Tristana's Dragon Trainer skin's pretty sad too.
Yeah.
So we could have a whole team comp of sad deaths. If we Tryndamere top, Nunu jungle, Tristana AD. I mean, I can't think of any of the supports that have more or less graceful. They all kind of just die. Tahm, Kench, Sona, Soraka. They'll just fall over.
Yeah, that's true. You know, TF is a sad one because his hat falls away. His hat's all alone now because he's.
It's
gone.
his true identity. He can't do the Gangnam Style when he's got no hat. So it looks like we'll be waiting about 20 minutes for the game to start. One of the team members from
20 minutes.
Rotation to Relegation is missing. Yeah.
They've gone missing. Do we need to go find them? Do they need our help?
No, I think they know where to go. They're just not here yet.
All right, we don't need to put out a missing persons report or anything. We gotta start an investigation and find this person, do we?
No, but it's interesting that Rotation Relegation had picked up MyNamelsJeff, one of the big Thresh one tricks in the UF Discord. So it should be that he has I wouldn't say his death animation's all of that intense. What AD carry
Oh,
has an
but
intense?
Thresh does get sucked into his own lantern. That's like
That's pretty sad. That's pretty
that's
depressing.
a betrayal. He's like, Lantern, I trusted you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now Thresh is, I think, one of the best playmaking supports at the moment. So I doubt that he's gonna be open for a pick this game. If they know what they're doing. If they're looking at bot lane.
We're assuming rotation relegation is going for Thresh, Tryndamere, Nunu. And I think Galaxemis kind of has a few wild cards in there. And I'm not sure who their support is playing. But if those are the first three bans, maybe they have some secret kind of team comps, some big playmaking team comps in the back wing. Avalanche is very fond of the Jarvan jungle, carry top lane, your standard bot lane, nothing too crazy of just a mid late game crit 80 carry because those are pretty popping right now, and defensive ish kind of support. But they also play the Thresh too. They could leave Thresh open and battle for the Thresh.
True. Who's first pick? Which team is it?
Rotation and relegation. So they have the first nab at the Thresh pick.
That's assuming that Thresh is gonna be the pick for a contest. It could be someone else. Maybe they want to contest Nunu. He's really good.
What do you think the best response against the Thresh first pick would be? You got your
probably a
keynote.
Morgana. I think Morgana. She's really strong. Black Shield gives a safe lane, and Thresh trying to get in there. I mean, it's a pretty powerful pick. Maybe
the fresh
Sona.
rework. She's got the maybe Sona. The great response to Thresh.
The great response. Actually, highest solo queue win rate against Thresh is Sona.
I don't believe that to be true, but I do believe that Morgana just got reworked, brand new ultimate, brand new visuals, brand new effects on everything. So maybe the fresh idea of having Morgana versus Thresh is going to be put into practice here.
Now,
as far as the 80 carries, I don't think anything too meta shaking is coming
up. Hold up. Let's get back on supports for just a second longer. Now, Xayah and Brand were pretty strong mage bot lanes, and I think Xayah's still really strong. And those plants, they can be a real nuisance when you're trying to get a hook in, and there's just 5 plants in your face. So if they want a mage support, they could pick Xayah. Could be a really strong pick.
Both of these guys in bot lane are really adamant on playing the playmaking in your face kind of Tahm, Kench, Alistar supports, it seems. So I think
the Thresh, the Alistar, any Blitzcranks in there,
and if any of those supports pop up, I wouldn't be surprised if the response is a support in the same range. I don't think we'll see any enchanters or mages coming out of bot lane. There's going to be a lot of action going on. Who's the better Thresh? Who's the better playmaker? Who gets the best roams and deep vision off earliest so that way they can keep their hold in bot lane? And there should be a lot of jungle interaction going on in bot lane with these playmaking supports and these high intensity, high... They have a prospect to dive, but if we're picking someone late game like Kayisdabomb or Vayne, is Kayisdabomb even good still? I have no idea. But I know Vayne is really popular.
Kayisdabomb has a very bad win rate, but she's still picked up a lot. I still think people like to play her. People still think she's strong. I don't think everyone's figured her out yet though.
Not in the current meta.
Yeah, she's definitely not as strong as something like Vayne or the Nico ADC, that kind of stuff.
I think Nico got hot fixed.
Did she?
In any case, I'm not sure. In any case, you've got big playmaking supports that can facilitate strong dives with pretty much any jungler that comes in, as long as they have enough damage or crowd control to lay down the law. And with these crit 80 carries being extremely popular, the first one to the first few items, even the first Infinity Edge, might be calling the shots for the rest of the game.
Okay, yeah, Nico did get hot fixed.
Okay, perfect. So
she dropped from a 57% to a 55% win rate, so it might take a little longer to balance out, but she's still looking kind of strong.
So we could see a Nico. It's possible to see a Nico. Unlikely. Vayne's a contested pick, but I do know that Avalanche plays Vayne top and Yasuo, so either of those two picks could be flexed in top or mid, depending on if their mid or AD carry plays the Vayne or Yasuo. Should be interesting. I think we'll definitely see a Vayne in the picks or the bans
I'd
in
have
this
to
match.
agree. So, assuming Vayne is either banned or taken top lane, what do you think we're going to be seeing out of the AD carries with the picks they've got left? Sivir is a very safe and strong pick. Anyone play her?
I'm not sure. I think everyone kind of has their foot into Sivir. She's not too extremely difficult. The players that have played her for years have, the edge. They can get the auto cancels pretty cleanly. They know when and where to spell shield perfectly. They've got the reaction time practiced. I think Caitlyn is going to be picked up a little bit more than Sivir might be. Long range, big lane bully, facilitates the lane plays and can push the tower dives just a little bit deeper. Get the bone plating or turret plating. I think Caitlyn's a little bit stronger than Sivir. A little bit more common than Sivir as a pick. Not even strength is being talked about here. But as far as frequency of pick rate, I think Lucian, Ezreal, and Kaysa are going to be the other champions I would like to see picked up. Champions that go late, champions that are safe in lane. They can bob and weave their way around the playmaking supports. They can help their jungler when they need to with the higher mobility. Kaysa less so, but at level 6 she can kind of flash into a team fight with her ultimate. Should be more interesting.
I think we're definitely likely to see an Ezreal in these games. Maybe a Lucian. Lucian seems to be less popular than Ezreal recently, but still picked a lot. Is there any chance we see one of, I would say Lucian's a pretty aggressive AD carry, can be, and then Draven. Is there any chance we see a Draven coming out here with one
Draven's
of these?
going to be pretty interesting.
With one of these playmaking supports, they can get pretty aggro in the bot lane and maybe get a jungler to watch their back so they don't get camped.
Draven's a champion that's always been strong. He's never bad in the meta, except for when something is so extremely oppressive that he can't walk up to it. But those are very niche scenarios. Usually that's a patch or two that Draven can't be played. I don't know if any of these players are good enough and confident enough on Draven to throw the risk of, am I going to get level 2 ganked and lose the lane lead that I really need early to push on? Or maybe they're a safer Draven player that likes to sit up on their stacks and get that one cash in that decides the full infinity upgrade over their opponent. It's possible. It's likely. It sounds really good. Draven playmaking support and high activity junglers like Nunu and Jarvan and otherwise. But I'm not sure. I think we'll see more traditional AD carries, more traditional crit-based, lane-dominant Sivir, Caitlyn kind of AD carries.
Well, how about Jinx? I'm looking at the stats here. The only champion to have above a 50% win rate against Jinx is actually Nico. Everyone else just seems to get run over by the champion.
Interesting. Well, I think Nico is probably a mistake as far as being an AD carry, an oversight, if you will. Jinx is one of those champions that can coast through any game if protected well enough. She gets to late game, she goes rocket form, and she works well in every single team fight, no matter the team comp.
Yep, she gets that one kill and just starts running your team down.
Exactly. Whereas a champion like Caitlyn, they fit their role very well, and when they get to late game, they perform almost better than any other AD carry due to the range. However, there's not too much of a, when that one kill happens, they can just run everyone over. Caitlyn's more of a, I'm this strong at this time of the game, and it doesn't change much. It's all about the player, the performance. But if you pick up Jinx, you get her to that late game stage, you get that one kill in that team fight, I doubt you're going to be coming back. At least in a position to go to an objective afterward. So we've got multiple candidates for these strong AD carries, but I think the more interesting, the more entertaining lane, if not the high activity bot lane, if not the hyper carry player's top lane, is going to be mid lane. We're not sure who's really going to be playing what in mid lane, but there's a lot of interesting champions, a lot of playmakers, a lot of high activity champions in mid lane nowadays.
To name a few, we got Silas, Ari, Zed, certainly strong picks. Kassadin, if you can get him to the high levels, he can just run over a team by himself. Even Fizz is pretty strong. All your assassins are looking pretty good right about now, but Silas is looking especially strong right now.
And what about the control mages? What control mages do you think are strong enough to have a standing against those assassins?
Well, Vel'Koz, if he can survive against them, he can dish out enough damage to almost single-handedly carry a team fight by himself with that passive, with the good ult going off. Xerath has been looking pretty good. Not picked by a lot of people, but he's still getting thrown out there and doing pretty well. Even apparently Morgana's seeing some picks mid lane. Not as much as everyone else, but definitely a very good win rate.
With Morgana's rework coming in, I think players are trying to put her back mid rather than just support, even though she's largely the same. Do you think we'll see any Kayle?
I think Kayle will not be mid lane if she is picked.
Where do you think anyone would play Kayle? Maybe a support Kayle might be played. Maybe the high intensity playmaking supports might change their mind. They might reel it back a bit and realize there's another champion waiting in the wing.
I doubt it. I doubt they'd go so far as to go from a high activity playmaking support to one that literally avoids all lane interaction. But maybe they just really are feeling it. I doubt it though. I think Kayle
perfect.
is more likely
That's
to be
you know
top.
that's a good insight. That's a good way to view it. If we're not seeing it mid and we're not seeing it support, maybe we could see it jungle. She doesn't have great clear. Morgana, however, has decent clear in the jungle. We have seen Morgana jungle in the intramural. Played up against a Rek'Sai, extremely strong pick. Rek'Sai can't really take on Morgana in the jungle 1v1. You would think just a frail mage versus an extremely strong, powerful farming jungler that can kind of get everywhere she needs to would be able to demolish this frail 1-2 offensive ability before level 6 support can do. But if you can't knock her up with the black shield, you can't move anywhere after you're binded, and you just have to stand there and watch Morgana take the scuttle crab away from you slowly with the 40 damage auto attacks.
That sounds
a little bit. It's a little bit draining. It's a little disheartening, discouraging.
Yeah, that's
maybe we'll see a Morgana jungle again, but
I doubt it.
I doubt
now,
it.
Who pulled that out? Was that on one of these teams?
It was on, I believe, Beast Coast. Salamander Man playing Morgana, and I believe Majin Kuma was playing Rek'Sai jungle. It was an interesting matchup. It was two strong farming junglers that have good capacity to gank. They butted heads a few times. Some skirmishes were had. We'll say skirmishes were had.
All right. Well, it's very unlikely that we see that again. So let's let's.
What other jungle
dwell
picks
on
do you
it.
think we'll see? Right now we've got who's common, who's popular, who's strong in the jungle. We've got the Vi, the Udyr,
Rek'Sai, Vi, Udyr, Nunu, even Master Yi, Kha'Zix, Jarvan.
Interesting.
I don't think they're gonna go for Master Yi. I think they're definitely gonna look for champions that have more agency in the early game, rather than put their lanes on kind of like the chill champions. I think they're definitely gonna have the junglers try and do more than just farm as Master Yi.
Yeah, you have champions like Jarvan and Nunu who these guys play, and it's for good reason. They can get in and out of their jungle as quick as they want to or need to. If they need to respond to a gank, they can get over a wall or speed up and get places they need to. They have strong scuttle control. Jarvan can shred the armor and MR of the scuttle crab, and knock it up to reduce its natural resistances. Nunu can do the same with its W, but also has true damage on the Q to act almost as a second smite in the early game, and later stages as well. You have champions that, like Vi and Udyr, that do the same thing, but their ability to act as a incredible fighter if they reach the range they need to, almost puts them ahead of any other jungler, any of the assassin junglers like Evelynn Rengar. They've been kind of pushed out of the meta since they can't deal with the Udyr and Vi with the clear speed. They get behind in levels, and they can't contest them for the scuttle crabs early enough. They're just too weak.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely we'll see high farm, high gank, and probably more skirmish-based junglers coming up from these teams.
Now, Jarvan, if we see him, do you think we're going to see a Jarvan ganks early and transitions into more damage or more support style Jarvan? Like, you see occasionally they'll go warrior, cleaver, or they go like Cinder Hulk, cleaver, and like full tank. Which one you think we're going to see, the warrior or the Cinder Hulk? What do you think's coming out?
It's interesting because you have warrior cleaver paths that sometimes have a Titanic, or not a Titanic, but any kind of Tiamat thrown in. They transition extremely well into the late game. Monstrous champions that can almost one-shot anyone. And you have the Cinder Hulk support that keeps the AD carry alive by being annoying and large enough that you can't just ignore it.
Yeah, it's very hard to ignore Jarvan's EQ into Cataclysm. Quite annoying, especially on champions that don't have dashes, and if your flash is down, a big problem.
You'll probably see more of the damage Jarvan coming out. The pressure in the early game is way too strong. It has synergy with a lot of other carry champions. Even if it does fall off late game, it still has the utility of locking people in, knocking people up, slowing them down, and he's not as frail as any other damage jungler, any other assassin would be. He's got his W to keep him alive, and he can, knock people up to get out, and then you can't respond while you're being knocked up. Sure, if they have Malzahar and he's taking damage already, that's a little bit different. The late game defensive support Jarvan, very strong for tower dives, very strong for pushing objectives and tanking and sitting on the Baron for multiple seconds whenever a damage Jarvan would probably be at half HP whenever the big team fight comes in. However, you're not going to see these late game team comps with Vayne, AD carry, and a playmaking support need that extra tank. They're going to need the extra damage, the extra push in the mid game to help facilitate the dives that they need, the objective control that they need. If you go too defensive, you just get walked over. If you go too offensive, you can't really contest for the objectives you need. It'll be interesting to see a healthy balance between the playmaking defensive supports that can peel for the carries and the offensive powerhouse that will come from the jungle, whether it be Jarvan or Vi or Udyr or whoever they decide to play.
So we've touched on the jungle, we've touched on mid lane, bot lane. How you feeling about top lane? You think we're definitely going to see that Tryndamere, or you think we're going to see something else?
Well, you've got two wildcard players. They play stuff like Vayne, Yasuo, Tryndamere, and then I think there's the staples thrown in and of everyone can kind of play Jax here and there. So there should be no downtime in top lane. There should be plenty of action going on. These champions need kills and they need gold to really keep a lead. And they're very strong when it comes to split pushing, sitting on the tower. You have to respond to them. If you have to respond to them and they love getting kills, there's no chance that there's not going to be some sort of action, whether it's 1v1, whether it's jungle, whether it's the whole team coming top to shut down the Tryndamere threat and throwing away an advantage somewhere else. We're definitely going to see some action. What that action is, I can't really tell, but we're going to see stuff like Jax Stuff like Tryndamere, stuff like Vayne, things that are extremely powerful carry potential champions with low defensive capabilities, other than, can't die.
Yeah, undying rage.
Mm-hmm. Way too strong of an ability to be overlooked. What champions do you think you don't want to see if you're Tryndamere in top lane?
Well, I think Jayce is annoying for everyone. He just kind of sits there. For all melee champions, Jayce is just going to sit there. He's going to shoot you over and over again. Yeah, area. It definitely makes lane a little difficult. Now, other champions I don't typically dabble in Tryndamere, but maybe a Jax is annoying. And I don't think there are that many other picks for top lane right now.
The issue is the champions that normally shut down Tryndamere, like Malphite and even Maokai, whenever he's strong, is he can root him, push him away, and kind of hold his own. Those tanks that can shut down Tryndamere, they won't die to him early, and they scale just as well as he does with the utility late game. They're not strong enough right now. Crit is extremely powerful. Conqueror is a new tool that these bruiser carry top laners like Aurelia, Jax, and Tryndamere can use to punish these tanks for not being strong enough early. It'll be interesting to see if we get any Conqueror-based champions showing up throughout top, maybe even mid, possibly jungle. Kayn, Udyr, Vi, they could possibly run Conqueror.
I think Udyr primarily runs press the attack.
I've seen a few phase rushes in there, some fleet footworks. You have your Udyr connoisseurs taking Glacial Augment, Unsealed Spellbook. He's kind of a wildcard champion. Wildcard players play Udyr, so I hope to see some Udyr, some fresh new strategy, something like a Morgana jungle, but on an Udyr strat. We'll have to see how it goes. Maybe even a Kale. You never know.
You never know. I don't know if they're gonna get that wacky though.
What? Which one's wackier, do you think? Unsealed Spellbook, Udyr?
I'd
Morgana
say Glacial
jungle.
is more wacky.
Glacial's more wacky? It's possible. You've got Twin Shadows, Glacial Augment. You could even get GLP. Incredible gank potential. Everyone's slowed. It scales with your AP. I see some potential.
Well, I'm not sure if the teams would agree with you, so...
Oh, I'm not sure either, which makes it even more exciting. I'm wondering what they're planning. I'm wondering what their strats are. I'm wondering what their first few picks are going to be. Are they going to go with the meta high win rate, high pick rate champions, or are they going to stick to their guns and play the champions they've been playing for years? We'll have to see what these guys decide to go into starting game one.
Now, do I see this correctly? Have we found the missing link in our game here?
I believe so. Our missing link has showed up. She's alive and well. Everyone's in order. Everyone's looking nice and ready. They're antsy in their chair. For the past 30 minutes, they've been thinking, is my strat correct? Do I know what I'm doing? How badly am I going to beat these guys? How badly are we going to lose? They've been fuming. They've been building up the intensity. I think we're going to see a spicy game one after such a long delay.
Well, we better see a spicy game one. All right, looks like we're going into the draft phase. Let's see what we got from our first ban from Dyrude.
I must not fall.
Ban one is gonna be Leona.
Wow, the last second Leona ban. I was waiting to come up so we could have.
Yeah, me too. Now Leona, there goes Lucian. Leona is a champion. I feel like. Do you leave that up against Thresh, right? Because you can flay it back when it tries to hook in. So that's a good matchup for Thresh, I believe. And she throws out the solar flare. You toss the lantern. That seems like a good lane for Thresh.
I think the idea is that they're going to ban away the Thresh. They're going to take away the playmaking support that they want to play. So they don't want to take away, or so they want to take away a champion that works well when they don't have Thresh. Leona does very well against champions like Tahm Kench and Alistar sometimes. If you knock the Leona away, she can still E all the way back in. She can ult whenever, she can't reach her AD carry. She has the stun potential to stop Alistar from continuing to trample through the lane. I think that's the same idea with the Lucian ban. Lucian is extremely strong with and without Thresh.
Oh,
and there's the
goes
Thresh ban. So you see Thresh and Leona getting banned. They're taking away Mashiro Nanami's powerful picks that would give him the lead that he wanted in this bot lane.
And
so
the Lux, one of the picked control mages, sometimes support, not a lot, but she's getting taken out, not allowed to be played. They don't want to have to play against that Lux.
Right, so you're seeing LeBlanc and Lux being taken away, and there's the Nunu first pick. We have Vayne open, one of the champions we suspected is definitely, possibly, maybe going to get picked. We know that SKT. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. We know that Avalanche has a keen sense of Vayne gameplay, but is it going to come out? Is the real question.
Tryndamere also taken away, so we aren't going to be seeing that Tryndamere top. No Undying Rage.
There's the Jarvan versus Nunu jungle that we were talking about earlier. So this should be exciting. The Scuttle Crab fights level 1 and 2 are going to be active. They're not going to be slow. We're going to see some EQs, some big snowballs, some double smites maybe.
Now, I'm not sure. The interaction with Nunu Snowball and Jarvan EQing through it, will he go through and they both get knocked up? Is that how that works?
That's a good question. I'm assuming what would happen is Jarvan goes to EQ. The damage of the E and the Q would hit. Jarvan doesn't fly through, but is instead stopped and knocked up by the Nunu Snowball. That's assuming that Nunu's flying in the direction of Jarvan. If
true.
Jarvan hits Nunu at a good angle, he gets the knockup. Nunu drops a snowball. He's crying. Nunu is literally crying as Willump is dying from that damage. So you have the Tahm Kench and the Braum, the two playmaking, defensive kind of diving supports that we suspected coming out in bot lane. I wonder if Avalanche and Rotation Relegation got the supports that they wanted. If they're happy about the bans that came through, if they're upset that they're being forced on these picks. Is this what they planned, or is this something that they had to come up with on the spot? And there's the Yasuo coming in that we suspected earlier. Can be flexed mid or top, but is extremely strong with Jarvan and Braum.
Also quite strong. Jayce, not Yasuo, Jayce coming out. That's likely to be a top lane. Now, looking at Syndra, Syndra is a champion that is fairly safe, but can be punished by some assassins. But late game, an assassin is going to be a very bad pick against Tahm Kench. Say you're Zed, you open up your death mark on one of the carries, and Tahm Kench just eats him up. Well, what are you going to do? Nothing. You lost about half your damage right there. So definitely a good pick with Syndra and the Tahm Kench to back it up.
They take away the Jax, the Yasuo. It looks like they're hitting the bot lane from the side of Avalanche. Vayne's being taken away. They know that they have extremely powerful frontline champions, and the one thing that can melt through it is someone who has % health damage, such as Vayne. The Syndra is most likely mid. That's like a 99% mid. But Jayce can be flex top or mid. It should be interesting to see where he goes.
Now, I think they need an Ezreal ban here, because Ezreal can take out those tanks. So Azir can also shred the tanks as well. But I think Ezreal can definitely get through Nunu better than some of the other champions early on too.
Definitely. Ezreal can stay away from Tahm Kench and Nunu. He can E out of Syndra's combo. He can build defensively, stack up the Seraphs, and he has plenty of build opportunities that let him live through the Syndra burst. And we're seeing Xayah, an extremely strong lane champion, builds decent crit, and is safe enough with the ultimate.
Xayah can dodge the Syndra ult with her ult, but assuming Syndra lands the stun with the E, it's unlikely to happen, so hopefully it gets blocked by like Braum. I'm pretty sure that stops the stun on everyone else. Otherwise, Xayah might just get instantly taken out by Syndra. Because the second the stun lands, I'm assuming the ult is going to follow.
So it looks like Avalanche or Rotation of Relegation is going for a quick pick into a steamroll kind of team comp. They want to get in there, really set their foot on the battlefield and say, we're the presence you should be scared of. Take 1 or 2 champions out with a Syndra ult, maybe a few Jinx crits, or maybe even a Jinx ult if it's quick enough. They've got the Sion and the Nunu to steamroll their way through. Tahm Kench even to ult his way in. A few resets, a few quick picks, and they're a force to be reckoned with.
Relegation they've got the engage from Sion, the potential catch from Syndra's E, and then they've got the disengage with Tahm Kench and the disruption from Nunu. Gonna be really hard to get to Syndra and Jinx when Nunu's just sitting there channeling absolute zero if they don't have the Braum ult on him and the Jarvan EQ on him.
Correct, and it looks like Avalanche knows this and is responding accordingly with Vladimir, Braum, and Xayah. Even Jayce has defensive capabilities of knocking people away, keeping the speed up for his teammates. It should be interesting seeing Nunu going for the Ignite Flash combo rather than taking Smite. Let's see if that doesn't get changed in these last
I hope it does. You can't get his jungle item otherwise. Oh, he got it. He got Smite.
Okay, perfect. His jungler did get Smite.
That is definitely the optimal play, going Smite on Nunu, so you can purchase your jungle item and get the extra XP, so you don't end up clearing your red and you're still level 1.
Right. However, back to the team comp that Avalanche is running. They have the strong engage, but what they also have is the ability to pull out when they need to and to respond to plays that Relegation is bringing in. And it takes more than just strong champions to pull that mid-fight, do I stay in? Can I stay right in the middle evenly? And champions like Vladimir and Jayce can do those really intense movements of, I'm going to keep this guy here, I'm going to keep doing damage, but I'm not going all the way in. I'm not going to die, and I'm not going to commit. But they can also respond to me. I've got the pull, I've got the knock away, I've got the speed up. Should be interesting to see how these team fights pan out.
Now, Vlad, I really like the Vlad pick, because you've got the champions Sion and Nunu who are trying to be the wall. They're trying to keep people off of Syndra and Jinx. But Vlad, he can just slide on through, get the ultimate onto Jinx and Syndra, and even if Tahm Kench eats him up, only one of them, they're still going to take the damage. And he's going to heal. It's going to be very difficult to keep Vlad from just running over people in a team fight.
Both teams have excessive amounts of crowd control. It'll be interesting to see how they implement that crowd control into these team fights. Are they choosing to try to lock down the carries? Are they choosing to remove the tanks early so the carries can freely move on through? Are they going to use it defensively? Are they going to use it strictly offensively because they're not worried about keeping people alive, more so as getting the 1 or 2 picks off needed for the Jinx reset, or the 1 or 2 tanks gone, so that way Jayce can actually fly in and maybe get a few melee swings in without completely getting obliterated or eaten up by a Tahm Kench or knocked up by a Sion. It should be interesting to see how these teams throw around their crowd control. There's no lack of damage from either side. We are seeing Braum opting in for the exhaust. Not so much a lane dominant strategy opting for exhaust. It does shut down Jinx's damage. And if he can get in range for the Syndra R, could completely destroy her burst window. However, as we talked about earlier, Braum's shield can block it. Xayah can completely negate it. Vladimir can completely negate it. Jayce and Jarvan, they have to watch out for those Jarvan ults, or for those Syndra ults. If it's popped too early, Syndra gets too many items that they can handle, it could be a quick 4v5.
Now, we've got very little poke coming out for both teams. We got good poke from Jayce and Syndra, but that's about it. So we're probably going to have to be seeing a lot of team fights or a lot of catches from both teams.
Right. You have rotations and relegations with the very all or nothing style. And you have the Avalanche style of, we can take the skirmishes. We can give minor poke, but we excel in team fights when we're together. So relegations can get that pinch, those 1 or 2 picks that they need, it's going to be very difficult, or it's going to be very interesting to see how Avalanche responds. And you've got the standard runes coming from everyone. Nothing too spicy, except maybe the Glacial Augment Nunu. Something I've not yet seen.
Yeah, with the strength of Aftershock, I have not seen a Glacial Augment. You see even Sion's pulling out the Aftershock over Grasp. Debatable.
The idea of slowing someone down, knocking him up, keeping him right where you want him. That's exactly what Glacial Augment is going for. That's exactly what Nunu is going for. The opportunity to buy Randuin's Omen and have it pop Glacial Augment, or maybe he's going to go for a more AP-centric Twin Shadows idea. I think GLP is too far. But Randuin's Omen works with Glacial Augment. Your auto attacks if he misses his E's, and he needs something after the snowball to keep them slowed. It seems more aggressive. It seems more of a, I'm going to gank often, and I need the extra slow. I need all of the slows that I can to lock these people down for my hyper carries, Jinx and Syndra. Otherwise, you've got Jayce, you've got Vladimir, you've got Jarvan taking the standard damage and well, phase rush from Vladimir. But you've got the standard damage keystones coming out. Nothing too exciting, nothing too far removed. But we will see the Jayce mid versus the Syndra.
Now, you used to see every once in a while Jayce would be running Electrocute into ranged matchups, but I think it's recently fallen out and it's mostly shifted to Airy in nearly every matchup. And that's what we're seeing from Jayce now.
And we also saw Syndra taking Electrocute not too long ago, amplifying her burst windows rather than focusing on the poke. Giving it just a moment for the spectator to catch up here.
Oh, and we're looking at a pause. The ADC has apparently black screened.
So if we can look at the items already, we see Sion opting in for Minion Dematerializer, Nunu opting in for the Stopwatch, which could go into a Gargoyle Stone Plate later, much less likely to be Zhonya's or GA, but Zhonya's isn't completely unlikely.
Now, it's also, a lot of people will just run the Stopwatch and sell it, and not really use it to build to anything, just use it for dive potential at 10 minutes.
Very true.
So, is he running Futures Market with that as well? It's definitely a common jungle setup to go Stopwatch with Futures Market and try and get that snowball.
The only
apparently ready.
The other opportunity I could see would be Alright, I think I'm back. The Nunu snowball should be pretty strong. It looks like Nunu's running perfect timing, biscuit delivery, and cosmic insight. So he's going for the extra sustain of biscuits, probably to keep himself nice and healthy after his jungle clear. Nunu doesn't necessarily struggle with sustain in the jungle. However, he's probably opting in for amplifying that sustain, staying on top of the jungle path. If he gets into a skirmish, he doesn't have to worry. Even if he's low, he can fight for the objective. He can do whatever he needs to do with those extra biscuits. But we are seeing the Doran shield come out from Sion. Very scared of this Vladimir, it seems. He's respecting the damage output, the poke that comes from the constant Qs, and he doesn't want to get cut down too early.
And the Dark Seal from Vlad definitely doesn't expect much from the Sion. Definitely a harder lane for Sion to get through than Vlad. Not much kill potential on either side, though.
What about a mid lane? Speak more on mid lane. Who do you think's going to come out on top in the 1v1 mid? If it's going to be a 1v1 mid.
Well, it can go either way. It's essentially if Jayce does get on Syndra without getting, like, if she misses her E stun, he can just jump on her, just commit, and can definitely just snowball the matchup. Essentially, whoever dies first is gonna have a very hard time. But Jayce, it'll be difficult for him to get onto Syndra without getting eat away. So
Syndra definitely sets up ganks a little bit easier than Jayce does. However, Jayce's early poke and having the stronger level 2 ganker in his jungle could lead to more scuttle plays, could lead to more invades. It's interesting to see how they're deciding to take. It'll be interesting to see how they decide to take their lane.
So looking like a level 2 gank from Jarvan in that top side. Oh wait, no, he's going straight red to blue. Exactly the same path as Nunu, except Nunu's going to his own blue. So
looks like Jarvan wanted to go for the level 2 gank top, but opted out of the level 2 gank since Vladimir is running TP, he's not running Ignite, and he is Vladimir. Vladimir has strong damage early game, but it's nothing what a level 2 gank Jarvan can really push all the way through on, especially a Sion. It's nothing that's going to really demolish through 700 HP plus. And possibly Aftershock if he lands the Q.
So Nunu got his blue, Jarvan got his scuttle. Syndra was rotating very, very soon. Looking like they know Jarvan's there. Syndra's just playing back, letting Jayce CS.
Both junglers respecting the power of each other's carries and looking like they understand that one small misstep and they could lose their entire jungle path that they've been planning. So you see Jayce just barely missing the EQ, trying to push Syndra out of the lane, deny some XP, maybe even some gold. And Jarvan's going for the second Scuttle Crab, which is an interesting clear. Red Scuttle to Scuttle.
Now he doesn't have lane priority mid lane. This could go very poorly for Jarvan. And yep, Jarvan is, he's dead. He did not have lane prio. A little questionable going for that. The Tahm Kench flash.
They did have lane priority bot, but no lane priority mid. I think he was assuming... Or no, they didn't have lane priority bot at that time, I guess. Maybe he was banking on having the extra stun power early of Braum, fighting with the melee, or fighting in melee range, being able to apply those stuns, but doesn't seem like it went to plan. Nunu gets the scuttle. Oh. Nunu's now up.
A very close kill in the mid lane. Syndra just barely killing Jayce, barely even having the mana to finish him off. Didn't see that in another fight in the jungle. Nunu getting engaged on.
So seeing Nunu getting engaged, we've got Tahm Kench for the clear. Bot lane rotates really quickly. A quick little dabble in the blue side jungle. No one getting too low for either team to be incredibly interested. Just throwing out their presence of, hey, I'm here. You know, please kindly back away.
Yeah,
I don't.
Just a little scuffle, nothing more.
Nothing more. No bloodshed, just some damage.
So Jayce is up in CS still after the after getting soloed mid lane. He had a big wave crash, but didn't make it into towers, so he could just manage to get all that CS. 10 up on Syndra, but down a kill. They burnt both summoners.
So you've got Jayce, who's now the same level. They're down summoners. He's up in CS. And as far as gold goes, they're both feeling pretty confident with where they're currently standing. Bot lane's got a BF to a Doran's Blade. It's an incredible lead for Jinx to have. And not only that, but MyNamelsJeff has not one, but 2 control wards and the gold item upgrade. The bot lane differential is way larger than any other lane could possibly be right now. Nunu had a few camps as his initial advantage, but chose for the early recall rather than getting the level and power spike he needed. Looks like some poke being traded back and forth from these two mid laners. And big wave coming in for Jayce, big poke coming through with the EQ. Jarvan go for a dive here, but Nunu's going for a gank.
Jarvan is, if that were extended, there was a potential counter from Jarvan there.
Jarvan's opting more for the extra vision from that Ghost Poro and the free Wolf Camp. Just taking advantage of Nunu's aggression in the best way that he can in this opportunity.
Nunu claiming the bot side scuttle while Jarvan clears out all of Nunu's top side, and looks like they're going to be going for the Mountain Drake here as well.
How do you feel about them opting in for the early Mountain Drake?
I feel like because of their vision control, if you look, they've got 3 control wards in this side. I think it's definitely the go-to plan with the amount of control they have here with the Jinx with the BF sword. It's definitely a good play.
You have champions like Sion that aren't necessarily made to be split pushers, but can chop down a few towers if left alone, especially if he's running Demolish. And you have champions like Jinx that are actually made to destroy towers with the attack speed ramp up or the minigun. So getting the Mountain Drake definitely puts a bit of a stress on Team Avalanche. You can't necessarily ignore Jinx or Sion going to push anymore.
Now you see Jayce was losing a lot of these trades early, but he's got Corrupting Potion to just Syndra's buying occasional health pots. So he can take not great trades and then just heal up while she can't. And that's mostly what he's been doing.
Speak more on the control mid. Both players seem like they really are keen on staying in mid to keep the wave control, to keep the pressure going. They want to be able to facilitate a gank if the jungler comes through. They don't really want to go too far and risk getting caught in the jungler, getting caught by the enemy laner when they're going to ward.
Well, right now, Syndra's she's gonna have to recall, and so they're either gonna let this wave crash, or Nunu's gonna need to cover, and Syndra's definitely gonna need that Nunu real soon. They might even look for a gank on Jayce. Jayce is also looking pretty...
Looks like there's a lot of action going on in bot, or they're just trying to force that wave down in there.
Oh, and Jayce gets taken out by the Nunu with the Syndra ult. Jarvan was right there, but he didn't get to react in time. He's only level 5 to Nunu's level 6. Or did Nunu get level 6 from the kill?
You've got... I'm not sure, I didn't see necessarily. But you have... the Jayce really hungry to keep his lead going. He had a CS advantage, he had the pressure with Syndra not completely obviously had just enough for the ultimate, which is all that she needed. And it looks like he just let the opportunity get to his head. He didn't respect the Nunu gank.
He really wanted to get that wave in and he died for it. It's quite unfortunate. He needs to keep that pressure up on Syndra, otherwise the Jayce pick is pretty irrelevant. And the pressure just got him killed. Now,
so it looks like the disconnect between the bot lane and the jungler coming from Avalanche is really becoming more prominent here. You have your mid lane winning, your top lane going even, and you've got all the pressure in the world bot with the Jinx and Tahm Kench constantly force shoving it in. And there's a big team fight coming in, possibly.
And Jarvan got spotted on a couple wards and he got stunned out by Syndra, and the Tahm Kench ult came in. While Jarvan was stunned, he could not react in time, and they just chased him down.
Another
Lots of vision
coming
from blue side. Jayce looking for an all-in, misses the EQ. That's gonna be no kill because of that EQ miss.
Yeah, rotations, relegations, getting away with some pretty tight plays, making the good responses they need
and
to
Nunu
hold their lead.
coming into mid lane.
Nunu's coming for the gank.
Does not...
Jarvan stalled Nunu. Should not connect, might connect there.
The Hexdrinker keeps Jayce alive, and Syndra overextends trying to get that kill and dies for it, handing over a 600 gold shutdown.
600 gold going to Jarvan, giving Jarvan the advantage, the catch-up that he needed to stay with, to stay right in line with this Nunu. The Nunu's 2 successful ganks, 2 kill participation is now matched by Jarvan.
And still nothing going on in this top lane, just a lot of farming.
Top lane's going to be a farm fest probably for another, I'd say about 10 minutes. You look like... It looks like Sion is grabbing a Zizirot portal. Really interested in keeping up the pressure. Of shoving the wave all the way in, not letting Vladimir go anywhere but top lane. Common strat for Sion. Pushing in, not letting his enemy lane breathe, not letting him think. Should be interesting to see what items these players go for. You got Syndra spotting the pink ward.
Clearing out some vision. Now, red team really needs to keep up their vision. I think, like, blue team has had vision control
Phenomenal vision.
through the river, making it very difficult for Jarvan to get around the map. And Jayce eating another Nunu
Perfect
gank.
response from Syndra.
Getting a teleport from Vlad and the Braum ult. They might, and Nunu's gonna fall. Not looking like Syndra can do anything here to get some
Avalanche
vengeance.
turning the tides that they needed in this game, getting some strong damage out. The Vladimir TP, the Braum ult, everything that they needed to pick up that Nunu kill. The perfect response. Jarvan might be flying in for the dive. Syndra sees on the ward. Might stay for the
EQ
counter.
and gets taken out.
Unfortunate. Absolutely unfortunate. She was looking for the response. She was really hungry to ult the Jarvan, or to ult the Jayce as he got low. But didn't respect the quick damage that was coming out. Should be interesting to see what this Jarvan buys. He's been sitting on these 2 base jungle wards and his refillable potion for quite some time.
And Jarvan getting collapsed on again in the same spot, but he's going to be able to make it out. Not quite the response time that they needed to get him there.
His persistent aggression, keeping a jungle lead, being able to counter jungle as much as he can, taking as much of the Raptors as he wanted to, leaving only the mini one. Similar idea to the Wolf camp that we saw earlier. A few attacks here and there traded in the bot lane, sacrificing a few CS in the tower to try and maybe find the kill, but nothing yet happening.
You see Jinx has an IE to Xayah's just BF pickaxe, but they can't really get a fight going to really flex their strength on Xayah and Braum. That shield very strong, making it quite difficult.
Xayah and Braum are incredibly defensive champions. They have the capacity to be hyper aggro, but they don't necessarily need to be to get to where they want in these games.
Chase
Jinx having the Infinity Edge.
eating the Syndra ult, but he's got his Hex Drinker. Not too worried. Now, turret plating's about to fall, and we can look at all of these lanes. We've got 1 plate has gone to Jayce, and then 2 plates have actually gone to Sion in the top lane, probably from when Vladimir TP'd mid lane.
And bot lane has also taken 2 plates, so it looks like Rotation Relegations has the gold advantage when it comes to plates, but because of the shutdown that Syndra has given away, and a little bit of CS differential, Jarvan capitalizing on the Nunu, going for the Rift Herald, taking the free Nunu kill, and again, pushing that gold lead further. The CS and the kill differences, the shutdowns, they all matter much more than these turret platings have in this game.
Now, Jarvan's looking for this Cloud Drake, but the enemy bot lane is not going to let him have it.
His own bot lane is not on the same page as him. They've got a split idea of going for the dragon and going for the mid gank. It should be interesting to see how these guys respond. Is this going to turn into a skirmish? Is the mid gank going to eventually work?
Red team has slain.
Looks like Relegation sacrificed the dragon to maybe make an attempt on Xayah.
And
Syndra falls, assuming to the constant poke from Jayce.
with the backup from Braum. Xayah playing really careful while Braum was mid lane, and they Jinx and Tahm Kench not knowing whether to go to the Cloud Drake or simply harass Xayah.
Both teams extremely torn. Whether it was just luck of the draw or optimal strategic play that came from Avalanche, they come out on top. 1.6k gold lead. Cloud to Mountain is the dragon matchup that we've got going on. You'd be surprised, an early Mountain usually, not always, usually turns into an early first tower from a team that has strong dive potential and a designated tower killer and that resides in the bot lane. But the high pressure from Jarvan constantly invading the jungle, the Jayce keeping mid lane down, and the inability of Sion being able to respond to
Jarvan
his lane matchup.
stopping the Sion ult and then getting the Cataclysm after the Chase flash. Chase is gonna Syndra. There's a bunch of action going on the map right now.
Too much action to keep track of. Two extremely strong, successful ganks coming from Avalanche Gaming. Rotation Relegation looking like they're in a tight spot, but they do have the late game potential.
Jinx taking the turret and just running Xayah down. Xayah just overstayed her welcome. She has no support, and the turret fell.
A strong Tahm Kench play coming in, flashing forward with the Jinx in his mouth to keep her going in the direction she needed to, keeping her in range for the Xayah.
Preventing her from getting rooted. Oh, Jinx gonna take a tower shot. Now Jayce and Braum are coming down. This could be bad for Jinx.
Jinx has a big bounty as well. Jayce would love to claim that. It's interesting to see how these teams respond to the aggression. We've got Jinx keeping a perfect space away. Tahm Kench playing frontline.
The exhaust coming out on Jinx, definitely denying her damage. And Tahm Kench gets killed before he can activate his shield thanks to the Braum stun.
Such a close fight. The decision to walk up to try and finish off the Braum for the reset, possibly get it... Or no, she's running overkill, so there's no triumph. So just the reset and the attack speed and the movement speed probably to outpace Jayce's damage. Fell short due to the exhaust. The ignite wasn't quite enough. Couldn't facilitate a kill. A big invade coming in, the double smite coming from Nunu, a Q smite doing incredible amounts of damage. You've got this Jayce, level 12, 2 levels up on the enemy mid laner. Tons of gold. Absolutely going to be a monstrous force for the rest of this game. And then you've got Jinx and Sion.
And Vladimir, looking at, he's got the most CS at nearly 170 right now with an 850 bounty.
Yeah, Vladimir's going to be a strong force late game. He's never a champion that falls off with time. And it doesn't look like they have anything directly responsive to this Vladimir. It'll be interesting to see how they decide to take care of Vladimir. But they've got, right now their worry is with this Jayce, how they can keep this guy pinned down. And it looks like they might have figured it out. Throw all the crowd control you can, hit him with as much damage.
And Braum coming in and saving Jayce, but Vlad on the backline taking out Jinx. Nunu unable to keep him off of her.
This could be the way that we see the rest of this game playing out. Nunu hitting a fantastic ultimate, queuing, keeping himself as much healthy as he can, and Tahm Kench goes down as well. Too much damage coming out from Avalanche Gaming. The lead might have reached its pinnacle. And Jarvan, it might be downhill. Jarvan goes for the EQ flash. And Syndra with a great response. Referral coming out. It looks like they're going for the end game. Sion going for the split push. Not much he can do, he decides, with his teammates down, but needs to recall now or he's going to be giving up game 1 out of this match. Gerald can't decide what it wants to do. Eventually decides to waddle into the base, getting shot down by Jinx. It did its best. But now, all it is 25
Vladimir gold. Claiming 3 more kills and is now worth a 1,000 shutdown. Definitely a target, but quite a difficult one to kill.
Keeping Vladimir and Jayce down at the same time while dealing with the threats of Braum and Jarvan is no easy task. If Jinx can make it out to getting a few more items before losing too much of her base, she should be able to carry this game.
And it looks like Syndra's gonna be mid lane clearing those super minions. Supers give you a lot of gold, a lot of XP, can definitely come back from it, but it's looking like they're just gonna be too pressured to really capitalize on that CS advantage.
Does Rotation Relegation want to let their minions die and farm up as much gold? And also denying Avalanche Gaming as much gold as they can? Or do they want to farm, push, keep the mid pressure that they can get when they can get it, go for vision, possibly try to stop the Baron. It's an interesting strat that they have to decide whether they want to go for the gold lead or if they want to keep what they can.
Yeah, Sion getting engaged on by Jarvan. Gets blast cone back into Vlad. Looks like there's no way out. Flashes, ults.
He's ulting in the wrong direction. He's going to have to loop all the way around, and I think Avalanche knows that. They choose to ignore him.
Oh,
for the time being,
him, and Jarvan getting run down. Barely lives with the Braum shield and the Xayah heal, and then a huge Braum ult coming out.
Looks like the split focus is now coming all together. They've got the big team fight coming in. There's no Jayce here, so can this Jinx really pull through the damage that she has? It doesn't seem like she can make it.
Too low to get in and
too low HP to
really finish off these very low team members.
These fights are all over the place. Not as coordinated as either team would probably want them to be. Jinx getting too low too quickly. Vladimir's too strong. And since Jayce was bought for free, he just picks up a full tower, probably a second tower coming in. Xayah, Jarvan, and Braum living at extremely low health. Not the way that Rotation Relegation wants to see these fights playing out. Nunu might not be tanky enough. Syndra might not have the damage she needs to hold out. We've got Sion chasing down this Jayce. Not for long.
And Jarvan just claiming the scuttle. Baron's side getting some more vision as they likely want to reset and then look for that Baron.
So like we talked about earlier, we were debating whether Jarvan would go for the supportive Cinder Hulk build or the warrior for the mid game, and it looks like with Vladimir, with Jayce, with a strong hyper carry bot lane, even if Xayah isn't at that point of being a hyper carry,
now who is
he's
he
opted in.
bound to? Looks so. Braum has a Knight's Vow for Vlad, and
Looks like Jarvan hasn't bound to anyone yet. It'll be interesting to see if he chooses to bind to Jayce, someone that he's been playing with extremely frequently. Most of his plays have been revolved around or involved Jayce, or if he'll go for the hyper carry to protect Xayah, help her get to the state that she needs to be in.
If we're gonna see more splitting from Jayce, it's likely that Jarvan will just be binding with Xayah. Xayah has reached 2 items. She is definitely in the game now, as she rode off of her teammates to kind of help with that bad early game.
Of course, Infinity Edge, Phantom Answer, a strong combo. Nothing to scoff at, has the defensive capability and the offensive crit. Sion running in with Night's Vow. Nunu coming in with the W, changing their mind last minute.
Jarvan
just wanted to say hello.
Getting cancelled by the Syndra, and despite both teams' best efforts, we're not going to be seeing a real team fight here.
Avalanche probably wanted to take the fight, but knowing Jayce was too far away, decided to back off a bit and just hold their position as holding Baron vision, having the threat of you have to come and stop us or we will take this game.
Jarvan
looks like
eating some poke while looking for an engage.
Rotation Relegation staying together.
They're gonna send Syndra to match this Jayce.
As we've been seeing this game,
Syndra cancels. So they're sending Sion now, but Jayce is getting a free push during all of this. Bring that tower to half. And probably being able to destroy it before Sion even makes it. And can he kill Sion? Aftershock coming in.
He's got the Black Cleaver to fight the armor. The longer this fight goes for
coming
Sion.
out in the river. Jarvan's gonna be getting out. Oh, we're going back to Jayce. And Jarvan gets out. Sion running from Jayce and gets sniped by the EQ. So that's a free inhibitor.
The indecisiveness from Rotation Relegation really coming through here. This really long team fight coming out. Avalanche is now taking the hold.
Vlad taking out Syndra. Now it's looking like they're gonna go for the end here. Jason in a weird spot. They got Jarvan to distract them, keeping Jayce out of harm's way.
If Jinx can roll the dice and hit those crits, she could turn this around. Tahm Kench eats her to keep her alive. Jinx
And
turning
that
around.
looks like it's gonna be it.
Game 1 goes to Avalanche Gaming. A scary early game position. Not yet. Looks like Sion is up. Jinx can pressure as much as her Hurricane will allow her to. Does she hit the crits?
18 seconds on Nunu, but they're all very low, so it looks like the game's
Syndra is
gonna
up.
keep going for a little longer. Now,
Interesting.
looking at this level difference, you have a level 16 Jayce to a level 12 Syndra. That is very painful to deal with. Syndra has been grouping while Jayce is constantly splitting, just got himself a giant lead.
Level 15 Vladimir against the level 13 Sion. Their jungler is down 2 levels, Nunu 11, Jarvan 14, so there is a level differential even though they are down inhibitors. So it looks like fighting for the Baron vision and keeping Avalanche off of the Baron, keeping the mid control, might not have panned out the way they wanted to. Maybe a more defensive, farm-oriented, safety-oriented strategy could have supplemented their victory. Jinx getting caught up by Jayce, lands the EQs, flies him with his hammer form. Jinx
Flashing
flashes the
from
damage.
Nunu. Now Sion getting engaged on. About half health. Uses flash, gets over the wall, gets out of there. Not gonna deal with that. So looking
Both-
like a free Baron.
Both opportunities that looked once like picks being saved by the flash. Not much that rotation relegation can do to respond to this Baron attempt. Knowing that Avalanche can just take this for free. Braum can fly around, look for vision, kill some wards as Xayah stands there throwing feathers and taking the Baron out. When you look at the bot lane builds, they're largely the same. You've got a crit based AD carry and a defensive support. The defensive supports want to keep their Jayce struggling to kill that Braum.
Braum just
Not
does
going
not
to
want
matter.
to die.
Braum's
Delaying
not wanting to
Jayce's
die.
recall by about 5 seconds.
A lot of these builds looking the same here. Sion going for the standard tank engage with the ZZ-Rot Spice.
Now
You've got a
let's see
10 stack
who's-
Medjai's Vladimir.
see who Jarvan is linked up with. Jarvan linked up with Xayah. Braum seems to have moved his bow to Jayce over Vladimir.
Looks like Vladimir doesn't actually need the defensive bonus from Knight's Vow and is not going to heal the tanks as much as they want to do. Vladimir coming in, wiping out all these tanks. Xayah just giving in the supportive damage she needs. That tank Jarvan build, not giving rotation relegation any room to breathe. Now it's going to be game 1 going to Avalanche. A scary early game for Avalanche. They didn't necessarily have the strong footing that they did now, 29 minutes in. 12k gold lead. A few mistakes early, a few miscommunications, an overstep here and there, but they brought it back. Now looking extremely dominant in this match. It'll be interesting to see where these bands head